What is immunosenescence? What has aging got to do with immunity? What has exercise got to do with the immune system? Stay tuned. I believe I have some answers for you. Hello and welcome to Nurse Amy on YouTube. I'm Nurse Amy. So during this lockdown, I started to think, what can I do that I can effectively contribute to people's lifestyle? Because it's so easy to just sit back and become a couch potato. There's Netflix, there's Hulu, there's Amazon Prime Video, there is CNN and all, different news channels out there, Fox 5, MSNBC. I mean, the list goes on. And it's so easy to get sucked in, and then the more you sit down or lay down, and if there's one thing we do know about this virus, it loves for you to sit down. Once it wants to attack you when you're at your most vulnerable, and it also likes for you to get you down, sit down or lay down. And I thought there's simple exercises that I've been doing. Now, for those of you who don't know, I do suffer back pain. I have lower back pain. It's excruciating. And I have sciatica. I mean, there are times when I'm literally limping. And I have been asked by my students and also colleagues on, what remedies have I used or what equipments, which sometime in the future, I'm actually going to upload that because I'm all about sharing, and that's fine with me. I don't mind. And if you have any remedies or equipments you also have used, please share it on this channel, leave it on the comments below. So before I go on, for those who are coming to my channel newly, welcome, thank you. Please subscribe so you can, support me and also see what I'm doing in this channel. And for those repeat offenders, I like to use that word, thank you so much. But still subscribe, comment, like, share my videos. I want to reach as many nursing assistants and people in the healthcare as possible. So coming back to this episode, I am talking about exercising and the aging immunity. Now, there is such a thing called immunosenescence or immunosenescence. It's aging that affects, and that it happens to everyone. As you get older, the immune system, for some reason, doesn't work as much as it should. Now, I'm trying not to get too technical because I really don't want to speak above people's head. I don't want to use medical terminology. Remember, students, when you do that, what is that? It's a barrier. People don't understand you and they get distracted or irritated. So I'm not trying to impress anyone with any medical terminologies here. I'm trying to pass out information. So that's very important, okay? So that's the cookie point for today. For those of you who's been following my videos, you will know Nurse Amy talks about her cookie points. And cookie points are just tips that reminds you, gives you information, and gives you confidence. So basically, those are what cookie points are. So the cookie point for this video is do not use unnecessary medical terminologies because it just puts people off. Okay, so that's the cookie point for today. So coming back to the exercise, I have simple exercises that I compile together that should help you move your immunity, amp up your immunity, if you will. So, but before we go to those exercises, I want to talk about immunosenescence or immunosenescence. What is it? Literally, it means decreased immune function. Now, immunity, your immunity, my immunity, the human immunity is divided into two parts. You have the innate immunity and then you have the adaptive immunity. So I'm just going to quickly just go through it just for you to have a general idea where I'm coming from and why exercise is important. So what is innate immunity? Innate immunity is immunity that is non-specific, meaning it attacks whatever it attacks. As long as it sees or perceives a pathogen or any kind of foreign body, which is also called antigen, once it notices it or it sees it, it goes to attack it. It protects the body. And examples of this is the skin, the moist areas in our nose, in our throat, even in our lungs, chemicals in the body. These are like natural killers. They will go after things that they perceive as foreign. So, and examples of this is sometimes your reflex cough, when you, the tears, something gets in your eyes and then you start to tear up. That's your immunity. That's part of the innate immunity. What are the things? People sneezing. That's all part of working, that innate immunity. So it's not specific. It's not something that, it doesn't target. You probably understand this more when I talk about adaptive immunity. Now, adaptive immunity is more specific. It's also known as acquired immunity. What that means is it's very, very laser targeted to specific infections and diseases. And you acquire this from having been exposed to a particular antigen. So say, for instance, you have a specific antigen comes into your body. Okay. Now remember, antigens are foreign bodies. It comes into your body and your body before now didn't know about it. So what the body will do is try to recruit and get more soldiers and get killers. And they're just going to go ahead and just, get rid of that foreign body. Okay. Now, if for whatever reason that foreign body tries to come into your body again, now your body recognizes it. It's very specific. It recognizes, it knows that, I got you. I'm going to deal with you. So what it does, it gets all the soldiers again and say, remember, we fought this battle before. So then it's so difficult for that infection or disease to be able to harbor your body. So that's what's adaptive immunity or acquired immunity. And part of this is like your allergic reaction, your asthma. That is your body that is specific to a certain type of allergen. Now, allergen are pathogens or antigens that would cause you to react in that way. So when you're allergic to certain things, is because your body recognizes it. Like, I do remember this. It's been here before. Well, you know what? You can't stay here. This place is not for you. So that is adaptive. And hopefully you kind of understand me now. If I'm moving too fast, I always tell people this. And I have been getting emails. It's either you leave the comments below, just let me know that you want me to go over this information, or write to me directly at nurseamyacademy@gmail.com. So what is the difference between adaptive immunity and innate immunity? Now I'm going to look at my notes. So if you see me looking away, I'm just trying to make sure that I get all my bullet points. And so the difference is the innate immunity, innate or inane, meaning it's a part of you. It's already in your body. It's already there. While the other one comes because you've been exposed to a certain disease or infection. So that basically is the difference. Okay. So why do we get infection? Especially as you get older, you begin to wonder, why am I getting this infection? Okay. What is the immune system? The immune system is made up of cells and tissues and organs. They all come together and form this network of soldiers, if you will. They're called white blood cells. Another name for them is leukocytes. So what they do, again, it seems like I'm repeating myself, but that's okay. I need both my nursing assistant students to understand this, and people in the healthcare, and also lay people that are not in the healthcare system, so that when I'm giving this information, everyone can understand it. It's useful to everybody. So as you get older, you find that you're more prone to certain diseases. And I'm going to explain this. So you will find that there are certain diseases, infections, like the common cold. The common cold, usually older people don't get the common cold as much as children. Why? Because they've built over the years that adaptive immunity. to fight the common cold. So you don't find them, that's not their problem. Now, immunosenescence, that is this decreased performance of the immune system, attacks more the adaptive immunity than the innate immunity. Does that make sense? So the immunosenescence, this decreased in immunity or in the immune system functioning, is more on the adaptive immunity. That's the one you acquire. And that involves the antibodies. See that? That is the adaptive one, the one that is very specific. That's the one that suffer more. The innate one, your skin or your nostrils or your throat, those chemicals are still there. Now, there is some kind of reduction, yes, but it's more, it's the effect is felt more with the acquired immune system, the acquired immune functioning. So, without again talking to medically above your head, there is an organ called the thymus. The thymus plays a very, very big role in the adaptive immunity, and it's right behind your breastplate. Now, the thymus is where a subsystem of the immune system goes to mature. So in the adaptive immunity, you have T cells. You have A and B T cells. And they both have different ways of functioning. But I don't want to go into that too much. Because the B cells deals with the antibodies, and the T cells is more of a cell-mediated type response. Again, I don't want to talk over your head. So the T cells mature in the thymus. Now the thymus, as you get older, starts to shrink. Actually, by the time you're a teenager, like 15 or mid-teens, the thymus efficiency is greatly reduced to about 15% of when it first started, when you first had it as a newborn. So that's a vast decrease in functioning or in size. So what happens? That's where the T cells go to mature. Okay, so now certain things start to happen. Again, I'm looking at my notes, so don't get. I just want to make sure I get all of my bullet points. So you find that because of this, the function, not so much the number of the T cells that are produced, because T cells, again, what do T cells do? T cells either attack pathogens themselves, or they marshal other immune system functioning. So they're like field generals. They're like field marshals. They map out the plan of attack. They are the ones, they're the go-to people who marshal out different ways that the immune system works. So you find T cells that actively fight against antigens and foreign bodies that come into the body and any of the toxins they produce. T cells do that. Now, they're doing that. One part is doing that. There are also some parts that get other parts. They get the antibodies, they get the B cells, they get everyone cracking. They get those chemicals in the blood, like, hey, look, we have an attack. This is what we need to do. So that's what they do. They're like army generals. Are we following? So that's what they do. Now, as you get older, the functioning of that T cells is vastly reduced. So what does that mean? It means then that when you're attacked, you're not fighting at your optimal functioning level. Okay, so there are macrophages. Macrophages are part of the those chemicals in the body, in the blood, that will attack foreign bodies. So those are also reduced, and because they're reduced, they're not eating up. Because what macrophages do, I'm trying to remember what game where you have, they're like macrophages actually. I'm trying to remember what they are now. They gobble up things. If I remember, I put it somewhere on the screen, but they gobble up things, they're like gobblers. That's how macrophages are. They eat all these foreign bodies. So you find they're reduced in size, reduced in number, and they're not eating up as much of these foreign bodies as they will. So again, what happens there? You're not able to fight illness as much as you would like to. And then you have the antibodies. The antibodies, I told you, they're B cells. They're a type of T cell. Again, not wanting to talk too much over your head. I really don't want to do that. So a lot of the antibodies do not respond as fast as they should. They're less in number and their functioning is greatly reduced. Okay. And then you find that the immune system, for some reason, this has not been explained by science. There are a lot of things science has not been able to explain. As you get older, you find the immune system starting to attack itself. It's not part of the reduced functioning. It's not as bright as it used to be. So it starts to sometimes attack its own cells. It doesn't recognize its own cell. Now, do not get me wrong. I'm not saying this doesn't happen in younger people because you have what is called autoimmune disease. It does happen, but you find it's more prevalent as you get older. The body starts to attack itself because it doesn't recognize itself, basically. And you have things like rheumatoid arthritis, you have lupus. Those are some of the things that, autoimmune disease. Something I wanted to mention, I just saw in my bullet point here. Now, you find also, because of those macrophages that I mentioned that gobble up foreign bodies, and now they're reduced in size, they're reduced in functioning, they're not moving as fast to catch up those foreign bodies. And that's why you see also as people get older, they start to have things like cancer and what have you. And then you have those chronic illnesses like diabetes, you have COPD, you have things like that. Those chronic illnesses also slows you down. It slows down your immunity. The immunity is not functioning as it ought to. Now, the reason why I went into all this, just so you understand, especially against the backdrop of COVID-19 and coronavirus, why it was that the first target or the first people would go to, or that started to show signs of falling down by this disease, they've been felled by this disease or this virus, is the older people. Why? Because the immune system right now is not as fast as it used to be. It's been compromised because a lot of the cells that would have been fighting them cannot won. Again, remember I told you about acquired immunity. Acquired immunity has to do with you fighting a disease you've known before. Now, the coronavirus is new. So being new, for a younger person, they can immediately fight it and develop, an acquired immunity. The older people, not as much. They cannot respond as fast to new disease or a new virus because of all these things I have mentioned before now. So what does exercise have to play in this? It's been shown that exercising amps up your immunity. Taking deep breaths actually helps to push your lymph. Now, the lymph is that's where those cells, a lot of the immune system, immunity cells, that's where the fluid is in the lymph. So taking deep breaths actually help you. It helps to push your stomach muscles and to keep those fluid flowing, through your bodies. And so it's helping to get those cells, the T cells, flowing through the immune system and helping to reach every part where it can fight infection. And then exercise, moving those joints, moving your muscles. Your muscles produces a type of hormone that helps to fight infections. So that's why it's important to exercise. And in this episode, in this video, I have some very gentle, easy to start exercises that shouldn't make you lose your breath or, God forbid, make you dizzy and fall. Because one thing is, we don't want you falling. One thing is, especially during this lockdown, we don't want you getting sick. Because right now, the focus is on coronavirus. So any other ailment really doesn't get as much attention. So the focus of this exercises that I have is not to create or to add on, please. So before we're going to go back in, to the exercises in a minute, and then we'll come back, and then we'll talk some more. And then you tell me what you can add on. You can add on, there are repetitions. I just put there. For me, again, I don't know if I've shared with you, I do have chronic pain. So I have to work. I have to constantly do it because my joints would stiffen, my back. I mean, it's a constant thing. It's an everyday thing. So it's part of my lifestyle, and it ought to be everyone. So go ahead and see those videos, and I'll be right with you, and we can talk some more. So one thing you want to do always before you do any kind of exercise routine is to warm up. And you can start by a simple routine as just standing in one spot and just raising your legs. Put it back down. You can use something for support. Again, we don't want you falling. So just keep doing this. And you can do this as many times as you want. We just want you to get those joints moving, okay, in one spot. So one of the warm-ups we're going to do is leg raises or heel raises. So I chose this spot because of support. So we do need you to find something that you can support yourself with, okay? So again, we don't want you falling. So choose something you can support yourself with, and then put your legs together. And now we're going to do leg raises or heel raises. Okay, simple like that. You can do it in repetitions of 10 or as often as you can. Again, it's not a race, it's just you working all that joints. Okay, working those joints. 1, 2, 3. So another exercise we can do, this can work the whole body, okay? So what it does is, we're gonna do sit to stand, okay? So trying to stand up without, and that's why I chose this chair, without an armrest. So it's like this, and then you sit down, you get up, and then you sit down, you get up, you sit down, get up, and you sit down. Do that repetitions of 10. That works your whole body. It also works your legs. Okay. Again, using a household item, a chair, dining chair, sit on it, straight up as much as you can, and then just push the legs out, bring them down, flat on the surface, push them out at your own pace, bring them down. Okay, it can actually work the core, it does, but again, not too stressful, just something to keep the range of motion going.
Action.
So another thing we can do is, now for the aerobics, you're just going to walk up and down the stairs. Again, do it at your own pace, okay? So if it's just walking, just walk, okay? I'm going to turn around and just take your time. You can do this 2 to 3 times, and that's okay. Go at your own pace. You're not in a race. You can come back again. If it means slow and steady, everybody has their pace they can walk. Do not run up the stairs if you can't run up the stairs. Again, I'm just going to turn around. Balance is important. Your gait is important. So you can hold onto the railings. Okay, if you have to go this way, that's fine. As long as you get those joints moving, you are doing some kind of range of motion. That is okay. So the best exercise for most people, including you, is walking. It's good. It gets everything moving, gets all the joints. It's a full body workout. So right now, come with me, and we're gonna go for a walk. It's cold out there, but I want to show you this. You can't beat it. I'm gonna go for a walk. So just in case you can't do the long stairs in the house, you know, you can, if you have short steps like this, you can, okay, just take your time, and then you can go backwards if you can. Okay. And turn around. Suppose instead of going backwards, because that could be a fall risk. Take your time. Just walking up and down steps expands your lungs. It helps your immune system. Okay? Just go back. You don't need to take steps backwards if that's not steady for you. Just turn around. Sorry for the noise. People are blowing their lawns. So we're outside. And you see me? I've got my mask. You've got to be very careful and responsible. So the best thing you can do, whenever you can, go and take walks. You cannot beat that. At your own pace. I have my mask on. It's literally freezing. And just take a walk. So welcome back. So what did you think of those exercises? Walking is good. Walking. And make sure when you're going for your walk, have your mask on. You know, we all should be responsible. I have a podcast. It's called Nurse Amy Online. Please go ahead and follow me and subscribe to that podcast. I talk about people being responsible citizens. Okay, I talk about coronavirus not being a respecter of age, is not a respecter of whatever political party you belong to. It really doesn't give 2 cents. It doesn't matter what your sexual orientation is or lack thereof. It really doesn't matter. You see, all that is background noise. It's just noise. This virus is an equal opportunity attacker. That's what I call it. So please check out my podcast, Nurse Amy Online. You can hear it on Anchor.fm. It's on Spotify. It's on Google Podcast. It's on a range wherever podcasters. Just type in Nurse Amy Online and please support me and let me keep, you know, putting out this information out there. So let me know what type of exercises you're doing in this time of lockdown. You know, any tips or tidbits, it goes a long way. I'm sharing mine, and I'm gonna keep on sharing things that I'm using to cope with pain, things I'm using to exercise with, and even programs. I will share those with you. So until I come your way again, remember, you're the only one who can limit yourself. So why do that? Why limit yourself? And remember, of course, I am your cheerleader. So take care, be responsible people, wear your masks, and I'll see you in the next episode. Take care.